Hey there, Tim Stoddart here, coming to you from my home office in Colorado. For this week's video, we're going to do a really cool Loom video. I want to share my screen and go over some examples that further articulate my point from last week's video. So, in last week's video, if you didn't watch it, my argument was that for most of you, you should not create a newsletter. The idea being that when most people start businesses, which is probably what you're doing, you either start off as a freelancer or a web designer, or you're trying to start an agency. You're trying to sell your services basically. And in that case, then you're much better off using email as a sales channel as opposed to creating a newsletter that you're either hoping to use to sell your services or probably sell ads against. So we're going to look at two different examples here, and we're also going to review a comment that was left on last week's video because I think it's a really great example. So let's dive right into it. 2 days ago, Corey Hind, he left a great comment. He said, "I appreciate the take, but don't entirely agree. I think a good content-based newsletter that has a solid CTA as well can totally work if done well. If the content is good, builds reputation, can get shared, and more people see the CTA. However, your version is totally valid for many, as they can't quite crack that content plus CTA model. Anyway, love your stuff. Keep going, please." First off, Corey, I really appreciate the comment. Like 99% of comments that I get on social media isn't um, arguing or trying to look at it from a different perspective, but rather like agreeing with what I or somebody else say. So I appreciate you stepping up and giving your point. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to show two examples and double down on my point. So let's look at it. This right here is going to be the analytics behind two recent emails that I personally sent. So this is the back end of my own ConvertKit account. Right here, this was an email that was sent out to the people that follow me on Stodzy. So Stodzy is my agency. Um, it's not here anymore. I exited out, but when people come to this website, a full screen pop-up shows up and the CTA is basically the same as this, except it just says I'll send them a weekly email on how they can better market their own services for their behavioral healthcare center. And then that email looks exactly like this. So here's the content of the email that I just sent out. So today is August 3rd. So this email was sent out yesterday. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is more or less a sales email. It's very short. It's not a newsletter. And it's one link. Well, in this case, it's two links because the YouTube video is a link within itself. But it's one direct call to action that builds my authority. And then in every email, I have this link right here, which goes to the contact form on my website. And this is where I collect most of my leads, almost all of my leads, at least organically. It's not necessarily referrals. They come through this contact form. And from yesterday's email, I collected one lead. I called this person. We set up an appointment. I haven't spoken to this person or even tried to close the deal yet. I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to close the deal. My conversion rate is pretty high, and so most likely I'll get a $6,000 a month deal from this. Our contracts are 9 months long with month to month after 9 months. So whatever six times nine is, hold on, let me do the math. So $6,000 a month times 9 months is $54,000. So this one email could potentially gross my business $54,000 over the course of a year. Okay. This newsletter, or excuse me, this email list only has 1,491 people. Uh, Little side quest, this number is about to grow, and that's actually going to be my uh, my video for next week. I'm going to show you guys the whole plan that I have. Actually, it's going to be the newsletter that you probably saw this on in the Tim Stas newsletter. I'm going to explain to you my plan to grow my email list for Stasi. All right, nonetheless, let's get to the point. So here's another example. This is my weekly newsletter, and this has 16,618 recipients. And this is the newsletter that you probably read to see this video. This goes out every Tuesday. This is a much more traditional newsletter. And I do exactly what Corey is suggesting. I have a CTA within the newsletter. My content is great. My open rate is very high. I get a ton of responses from everybody who reads it. So I know that people enjoy my newsletter. So I'm doing exactly what Corey is advocating for. It's right here. Section 3 in every newsletter is always either an ad that somebody pays me for, or it's a self advertisement, let's call it, to my own product, which is the Copyblogger Academy. So when people click here, they go to the Copyblogger Academy, and I sold about 3 of these, right? So um, it's hard to make a direct comparison because the scalability for a digital product on the Copyblogger Academy is a lot higher than the scalability for a service business like Stodzy. But either way, dollar for dollar, let's just make the comparison, right? This email has 16,618 people. The ad itself got 79 clicks. So out of these 79 clicks, I sold 3. I'm almost positive I sold 3. That's pretty good day. That's a pretty good day of sales. I'm happy with that. Obviously the direct sales sell more if people go to copyblogger.com. That's where the majority of the sales come from. But I sponsored my own product through my newsletter. The comparison between 16,618 emails and the amount of revenue I generated, as opposed to 1,491 emails compared to the revenue that it generated. It hasn't generated it yet. I want to be honest about that. But either way, 57 people clicked on this link oh, excuse me, 57 people clicked on the link that I just showed you guys about wanting to potentially book an appointment. So although the conversion rate, one person actually booked the appointment and 57 people clicked on it, if I keep sending this email week after week, more and more people are going to book appointments. So I'm doubling down on my argument. Corey, thank you for your suggestion. But for the majority of people, you're much better off sending short, to the point, direct sales emails that look a lot more like this and have a direct CTA to close a deal, as opposed to spending the hours that it takes to write a newsletter, build your email list to tens and tens of thousands of people to make it viable to the point where it can really generate you like 6 or 7 figures. Spend the time to do this and work up to it. So I see the point, right? Because over the long run, if you can create a newsletter and you can create a massive influx of subscribers, the scalability is so much higher. So you'll make more in comparison to the time that you spend on it. But we're not there yet. The vast majority of us, probably like 80 to 85% of the people watching this, and myself included, are going to make more money in relation to the time they spend crafting the email by just creating a one-off simple sales email. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, hit subscribe, smash that subscribe button, and I will talk to you guys next week. See ya.